Hi everybody, welcome to another lesson of learning Japanese. Today we're going to cover another grammar pattern, and this video is going to be another part of our series of lessons covering the word wake and the grammar patterns that use that word as a basis. So of course, if you haven't watched the previous videos, part of this little mini series, you should definitely do that before you continue on to this one. This video is the fourth video in the wake series. So the first one was on the word wake, the second was on toyu wake, and the third was on wake de wa nai. In this fourth video here, we are going to be covering the grammar pattern that is blank wake ga nai to mean there is no way blank. And we will most definitely be referring to information that was established in those previous videos. So again, watch those if you have not yet. Okay, so wake ga nai is again going to mean there's no way that blank, and this is going to be a very common grammar pattern. It is very common everyday conversation, and you'll see it a lot if you watch TV, Japanese TV, and anime and stuff like that. So this grammar pattern is very commonly confused with the similarly worded wake de wa nai, which instead of there's no way means it's not like. Both of these grammar patterns, of course, use the word wake. They both employ the negative form, and they both include the wa ga particles, which themselves are very often confused with each other. However, in meaning, they are pretty much the opposite. Wake de wa nai is going to translate to it's not like, in which you partially deny something. Wake ga nai is going to translate to there is no way that blank, which is kind of like an absolute denial. So partial denial and absolute denial. Pretty darn different. And of course with that, we're going to want to know which one is being used. And so to start with that, let's take a look at both of their constructions. In our previous video where we covered wake de wa nai, we outlined that the construction of it is basically just the opposite of wake da, because da in its negative form is pretty much de wa nai if you're using it with a noun. And that would literally translate to it is not the circumstance or situation or conclusion if we were interpreting wake as that definition of conclusion, result, or situation, because it has more than one definition. Here with wake ga nai, we notice here that this is also a negative form. It's also wake. It's also using one of those particles wa ga, but instead of the negative form of da, this is instead the negative form of aru, which means to be or there is. So ga aru is the positive form, then ga nai is the negative form, which would then make this literally translate to there is no reason. And here we're going to be interpreting wake as that other definition, reason, as opposed to result or conclusion or situation based on context. And with that literal translation, then something something wake ga nai is going to translate to there is no reason that something something, whatever the blank was. With that literal interpretation, then we can kind of smoothly turn it into the natural translation of there's no way that blank. So yeah, if you need some help in remembering what this grammar pattern means, it means there's no way that, and we can kind of derive that from a literal interpretation of wake ga nai as there is no reason that blank. Just an outright negation of something, and some other common translations of this grammar pattern will be it's impossible that, it can't be that, there's no reason that, etc. One last little thing we'll mention in this context here is that this grammar pattern, there will be cases where people will use the wa particle instead of the ga, so it'll be wake wa nai. Then there will also be cases where they'll just drop the particle entirely and it'll just be wake nai. Now let's go through the construction of this grammar pattern. This grammar pattern is most often going to be shown being used in the present tense. And so we can use it with all types of words. We can use it with verbs, adjectives, nouns, clauses. When we're using it with verbs, it just has to be a plain form of a verb, and then we just add wake ga nai right after that. Or we can insert the little toyu phrasing between the verb and the wake ga nai. That's kind of optional there. For e adjectives, it's basically the same rule. We just need the e adjective itself. Don't have to drop anything, don't have to add any particles, just add wake ga nai right after it. For na adjectives, we do need to add the particle. We just add that na adjective particle na. Then lastly, for nouns, we are either going to add the phrasing de aru, or we'll add the particle no between the noun itself and the phrasing wake ga nai. Okay, so now let's jump into some example sentences to get a feel of how this grammar pattern works in actual situations. So first up, we'll cover a few kind of just really common phrases, short phrases that use this grammar pattern. For our first one, we have iru wake nai. This is very short. It's basically just 3 words. The verb iru, then the word wake, then the nai, which is those last 2 words are kind of just this grammar pattern. So iru wake nai, we're just using this grammar pattern with the word iru, and here iru is going to translate to want. And so then it's in its dictionary form, which is a plain form. So what we can do is we can just plug on wake nai And this will, instead of meaning to want, this will translate to there's no way I would want that. The implication of that, of course. So, iru wake nai is going to translate to there's no way I want that, or there's no way I would want that. Kind of this exclamatory statement to express that you really don't want something. And yeah, you can probably hear this line in a lot of TV shows and anime. Another common kind of set phrasing is sonna wake nai. So sonna is of course this kind of special word that isn't necessarily a noun or a verb or an adjective. It means that. So when we use it with this grammar pattern, we can basically just plug on wake ga nai right after it, and that's exactly what we do. Sonna wake ga nai. And what this will translate to is basically there's no way that is true, or that can't be true, or just more simply, that's impossible. And so yeah, this is a pretty common expression where someone's just expressing their disbelief in something, their outright negation towards thinking that that is something that is true. You can hear it a lot in TV shows and anime and stuff, and yes, kind of just this dramatic statement. Sonna wake nai. For our next example sentence, we'll get kind of lengthier than what we've done so far. Let's break down and translate the title to the anime series, Boku no Imoto ga konna ni kowai wake ga nai. This is going to translate to basically, there's no way that my little sister is this cute. Let's break down the sentence word by word. First up, we have boku, which is going to mean I. Implication is the speaker is a male. Boku is going to be the first noun in a noun of a noun modification here, with the second one being imoto, which translates to little sister. So boku no imoto is basically going to translate to my little sister. We have the particle ga marking my little sister as the subject of the sentence. We have konnani, which is going to translate to this. It's going to be modifying the adjective right after it, which is kawaii, which is going to be cute. So this cute, my little sister is this cute. However, that's not what we're going to want to say in the end. We want to modify this to say there's no way that my little sister is this cute. So we add on our grammar pattern now because we have an e adjective, kawaii, and we can just plug in wake ga nai because that's what e adjectives need. They don't need anything. They just need the word itself plus wake ga nai. So kawaii wake ga nai is going to translate to there's no way cute. That doesn't sound very natural, of course, but when we plug it in with the rest of the sentence, it translates to there's no way that my little sister is this cute, or it's impossible for my little sister to be this cute, or my little sister can't be this cute. Boku no imoto ga konna ni kawaii wake ga nai. Okay, so next let's cover a few more examples covering the aspects that we haven't touched on so far. So for our next one, we'll do a noun. So for our example sentence, we have kare wa itsumo chikoku suru majime na gakusei de aru wake ga nai. So this sentence right here is going to translate to that guy is always showing up late. There's no way that he's a serious student. So let's break down this sentence word by word. First up, we have kare, just establishing the topic here with the word he. Have that particle wa marking him as the topic of the sentence. We have the word itsumo, which means always. Going to be modifying the verb action that happens right now, which is chikoku suru, which is the verbal noun chikoku suru, which means to be late. That's going to be the first clause of the sentence. We continue on with the clause that is going to have the grammar pattern. So we start off with the not adjective majime, which means serious, diligent, something along those lines. Have the particle na because it's a not adjective modifying a word, and the word it's modifying is gakusei, which is student. That is a noun, and that is going to be the word that we're going to use with our grammar pattern wake ga nai. So we need to add the proper stuff before we can plug in wake ga nai right after it. We're going to go with the de aru choice, so majime na gakusei de aru plus wake ga nai. What is that going to translate to? There's no way that serious student. Of course, that sounds awkward, but we plug it in with the rest of the sentence and we have kare wa itsumo chikoku suru majime na gakusei de aru wake ga nai. That guy is always showing up late. There's no way that he's a serious student. Okay, let's cover one more example sentence and we'll do the last word that we haven't covered yet, which is a not adjective, I believe. So for our next example sentence, we have sono hoho ga takusan no ketten ga aru koukateki na wake ga nai. This sentence, or this line that has two sentences in it, is going to translate to that approach is full of drawbacks. There's no way that it'll be effective. So let's break it down bit by bit. First up, we have sono, which means that. It'll be modifying the noun right after it, which is the word hoho, which means kind of like approach or method. We're going to mark that with the particle wa, so that approach or method is. Then we have a noun of a noun modification with the first noun takusan, which means a lot, and the second noun ketten, which means something along the lines of drawback. So takusan no ketten is going to mean a lot of drawbacks. Then right after that, we simply have the grammar pattern that is the ga aru grammar pattern to mean there are or there is. So our first sentence is once again, sono hoho ga takusan no ketten ga aru. That approach has a lot of drawbacks. Now we move on to our second sentence, which is gonna, of course, contain our grammar pattern here. So what we have is the not adjective koukateki, which is going to translate to effective, and that is a not adjective. So we are gonna do what we're gonna do, place the na particle right after it. then we plug in wake ga nai to mean there's no way it's effective as opposed to just effective. And so once again, その方法がたくさんの欠点がある効果的なわけがない. This is simply going to say that approach is full of drawbacks. There's no way that it'll be effective. And so yeah, hopefully you get the idea of how this is probably said in some situation where the person is dramatically defying somebody's approach because he definitely doesn't believe that it'll work. So he says something like this. That is an outright negation. And so yeah, that is going to cover it for this grammar lesson of something blank wake ga nai to mean there's no way that blank, or it's impossible that blank, or it can't be blank. Okay, so that's going to wrap it up for this video. I hope you learned something, and I hope you enjoyed your time doing so. If you'd like to express that, you can like the video, leave a comment below, or subscribe if you haven't already. If you'd like to support more of these video lessons, or support more of these video lessons being created more often, or support more types of videos, please do consider checking out our Patreon page and consider becoming a patron there. Also included on the screen right now are, of course, a bunch of links on where to find and follow us elsewhere online, including our official website. And lastly, check out our Discord server. We've got a community of hundreds of people learning Japanese just there. So if you're looking for somebody to voice chat with just to practice speaking Japanese, or you have a quick question that needs a quick answer, or if you just want to talk about anime or music or manga or other Japanese things, learn Japanese.becauseofdreams.com/Discord. And with that, see you next time.